speaking Turkish.
Would you mind to hear me? Everyone, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Patricia, we can accept our attendees to the webinar, if you wish.
I will click on start webinar and start the recording. Just wait like a minute or so people have the time to connect, and then we start sharp to 2 p.m. Okay, but
Okay.
I go for it. We are live.
Okay. Patricia, just one the last question about the intervenants, the panelists. When we will speak it, when we will start to speak, the audience see just for the speaker?
Yes, I'm going to put it in view mode. We are already having people in. We have already 21 people connected.
21 already.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start a little bit smaller and small.
To kick, and yes, I will put in the speaker view. So voila.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, see you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hello to everyone. You welcome our webinar. A few minutes later, we will start our webinar with our panelists. Before starting to our webinar, we are a little bit waiting for a few minutes for the newcomers, new arrivals, and after that, we will start. I would like to mention about some tips about the program flow. Firstly, our webinar will keep going on Zoom webinar, and in the same time, we have a live diffusion in YouTube, and you can follow our program in the YouTube links of FEDIF channel. And after that, if you would like to participate the program for asking the questions or something like that, you will. It's better to use the webinar Zoom webinar form, because you can ask your questions, and I can see the questions, and after the presentation of the panelists, I will ask the questions the panelists. The original version, the program will be in English. In the bottom also, but in English, but in the bottom you can see the different menus, different buttons. In the interpretation button, you see two options, either French or Turkish one. If you would like to follow the program in French, you can put the French. You can choose the French option, and the panelists will continue speaking English, but you will hear the interpreter, and she will make an interpretation in the simultaneous way. And also, if you want, would you mind to hear the panelist in Turkish, you can choose the Turkish option, and the panelist will continue speaking English, but you can hear Turkish translation. If so many people are there, we are already on time. I would like to keep going on a little bit. Again, everybody, hi, hello, welcome, you're welcome. This is our webinar for FEDIF. This is Emre from FEDIF. I personally thank all of our attendees, all of our panelists are there. Today, we have got very important people here to present us some challenges, opportunities, and the contributions of the migrants on French labor market. And the other important point for asking the questions, if you would like to ask the question, when the panelist carries on his or her presentation, you can write your questions on the chat or Q&R part. On the bottom, you can see two menus, either question and response, question and answer, or discussion version. It's available for you for asking the questions to the panelist. After the presentation of themselves, I will ask the questions. I will ask your questions to them. And after then, if you want to contact with these institutions after the panel, after the webinar, it's enough to send us an email. I will write a little bit after our email address, info@fedif.fr. Our email address is served for us for your further needs. And now it's time to start our webinar. I would like to start with my colleagues from Brussels, Maria Grazia on the other side of the webinar. Maria, she makes the presentation of the Max project many times before, but perhaps it's the last time for us. Thank you, Maria, for welcoming our section to webinar. We are listening to you.
Thank you, Emre. Thank you very much. And welcome to all the participants and all the panelists of today. So I'm from UNITE, so I'm the project coordinator of Max project, thanks to which we are today doing this webinar. So I'll be sharing my screen with a presentation of what is Max. So Max means maximizing migrants' contribution to society. It's a project, it's an EMIF-funded project, so an European-funded project who has the main goal to improve the public image of migrants in Europe. We have 12 countries participating in the project, and the main goal is to change the narrative around immigration discourse. Which are the tools and with whom we are doing this? Basically storytelling, it's the most important thing. Then creation of positive messages for the media, and dialogic encounters between locals and newcomers. This is an overview of the partnership. So we are 19 partners from all around Europe. So we cover Southern Europe, Central Europe, Western Europe and Eastern Europe, and it's a very big consortium, and also the impact of Max project is really representative of a lot of realities in Europe. The main goals of the project, and so Max started in 2 years ago. So we are already very good, in progress with all the progress of Max project. So we have done up to date 3 reports on the impact of migrant population in Europe. We delivered 50 success stories that journalists wrote for us after having a training by the local. There is a new newsroom, an European newsroom, who delivered the SOJO training, the solution journalism training, to young journalists, senior journalists, and students in journalism. Then a set of 20 messages aiming to improve the public image of migrants in Europe that were issued from the reports that our partners prepared, and then a database of good and bad practices in the 12 countries involved in the project. So again, this is a short overview of the training for the media professionals that we delivered last year in online format. And the main goal of this year, so this 2021, is to organize 15 diversity dialogue fora, so events like this one in which we are involved right now, and a final European Diversity Festival and a conference, so the final conference of the project that will be hopefully held in Brussels in October, November this year. The Diversity Dialogue Fora should be seen as a common platform for third countries nationals, local residents, and public administration to overcome stereotypes and misconception around the immigration discourse in Europe, and to highlight also the contributions of migrants into European societies as a whole. This is basically the project. So it's a very intertwined one. So we really tried to put together all the major channels to underline the diversity of the contribution of migrants in Europe. And even though the pandemic outbreak really represented a struggle for at least for the events, because they were obviously foreseen to be in person. So in all the 12 countries in person. We really try to overcome these difficulties and this challenge by making the disadvantage becoming an advantage, and then try through the online formats to gather even more people and an even more diverse audience. You can find more about Max on our social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, and we also have our website, so maxamif.eu. And I really thank you, FEDIF, that is one of our partner in the project. This is the first event that they will be hosting, and then it will be a second one on the 24th of March, more focused on the role of education in the French society, in particular, in the inclusion of migrants and migrant children as well. That's all from my side. Thank you once again, Emre, and enjoy this meeting. I hope you will enjoy this meeting as much as.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much. I would like to say something about today's event. Firstly, we are discussing a little bit how could we organize such an event for the newcomers. Firstly, we talk about a little bit something like the Forum de Métiers, something like that. But anyway, in the pandemic reason, we should be organized in online. But anyway, today we have so many important institutions representatives, and they will present you their instructions and their modalities to serve the newcomers. I would like to talk about a little bit FEDIF, and after that we will start our webinar with Do4Job. The network of FEDIF has founded in 2006 in Paris to assist the French-Turkish entrepreneurs. With the inclusion of the newcomers in the years of mostly 2016 and 17, FEDIF has decided to open its wings to the newcomers, establishing FEDIF Career to support their integration to French society, especially in terms of finding jobs and supporting their careers. My job is FEDIF. I am representative of FEDIF in Max project. And today, the program targets on this public to improve new approach for the newcomers. We have guests coming from the institutions and networks. We would like to start with Do4Job with Stephanie Biesman, directrice of Do4Job. Before Stephanie, I would like to say some brief information about Do4Job. Do4Job was born a double observation. Firstly, there is an inequality access to labor market for the young job seekers, people coming from the migrant background. And the other one, the people over 50 years old, mostly in Belgium, have one of the lowest employment rates in the Europe and face a lack of appreciation of their skills. By bringing these two together, Do4Job aims to help eliminate the inequalities in access to the labor market for young people with a migrant background, to recognize the knowledge of the moreover the elder persons over 50 years old, and the combat of discrimination by creating the social cohesion and understanding and local solidarity. And Duo for Job created France for about 3 years ago, and we would like to listen Stephanie Biesman about the representation about the Duo for Job. You're welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Emre. I'm going to turn on my clock and make sure I don't go beyond 10 or 8 to 10 minutes and shut down my phone. So thank you very much for inviting me to this dialogue. So thank you, Fedif. Thank you to all the partners of the Max project. Like Emre explained you, I am the director of Duo for a Job in Paris, or in the region of l'Île-de-France. And this organization is indeed a company or an organization, sorry, that has seen the light in Belgium in 2012, and that after a phase of expansion within Belgium has decided to go beyond the frontiers and create the first antenna in Paris. So we are in Paris since 2019, mid-2019, and I'll explain you during my short presentation what we actually do. First of all, the main idea, and I hope everybody can see my screen, but normally that should be okay. Also, I'm sorry because there is a mix of French and English in my presentation, but I'll do it in English. So the main idea and the overall conviction that drives everything we do within Duo for a Job is that diversity is a fact, but inclusion is a choice. So this is the basic idea that drives everything within the organization. Now, what do we do and why do we do this? To take a little step back, we actually have two publics within Duo for a Job. We have, on one hand, the youngsters with an immigrant background, and on the other hand, we are a project for elderly people, elderly from 50 years onwards. So it's not that old. Why these two groups of people? Let's say, first of all, because we saw during a different analysis of situation of youngsters that obviously they have they are confronted, with very high unemployment levels. Especially when we look at the youngsters with an immigrant background or youngsters with the refugee status, we can see that unemployment is a real problem. And we, in France at least, talk about percentages about around 20%. So that's 1 out of 5. And we might expect they will be rising with the crisis. And on the other hand, we have a group of elderly, so people who are 50 and plus. And what we saw at the beginning of the project is that many of these people are not active anymore in the French society. So they have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, but it's not really used. So we wanted to do something with that group as well, because basically they've still a very much competencies and they have many things to share with us, but it's not always very much valued by society. So that was a consultation which led to a new concept, the concept of Duo for a Job, of intergenerational mentoring for young refugees and job seekers with an immigrant background. So these people, the job seekers, we call mentees, and the other group are the mentors. We have 3 missions. We try to strive for equal opportunities, to value the experience of people with 50 years and plus, and we try to enhance social cohesion and non-discrimination. We work with specific type of mentees. So we can only help youngsters between 18 and 33 years old that are actively searching for a job, that have a refugee status, or that come from an immigrant background that is non-European. So we go until the 3rd generation. So youngsters that are born in France, but who have one grandparent with a non-European background, they can ask Duo for a Job for help in their job search. They all have to speak French or English, so it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily need to speak French. You need to have the right to work in French, on the other hand, so we cannot help asylum seekers. And our youngsters need to live in the region of Île-de-France because ideally they see their mentors and have a real in live contact. The mentors are people with 50 years old and more. They have a professional experience. They are obviously available for 6 months because that is the duration of the program. And they need to have a sincere wish to transmit, help, and invest time in a youngster. So here is where we switch to French. Our methodology is steady since the beginning of the project. So we have different phases. We try to get to know everybody we work with. So this is the first phase where we have individual meetings and collective meetings to explain the project in the first place, and then individual meetings to get to know all the participants better. We invest pretty important amount of time in that because it is important for us to know everybody we are working with. Once that is done, we suggest or we propose a training to our mentors. I say suggest, but it's actually obligatory or compulsory. So each mentor needs to be trained by our organization. After that, we can match the duos. And then once the duo was matched and everybody agrees to work together, we will sign a convention, which is some kind of a moral agreement. And that is where the 6 months accompaniment period starts. So every week, the mentor and the mentee will see each other and will try together to help the youngster with his job search or with the search of a training or an internship. At the end of the 6 months, we will be evaluating the accompaniment and see whether everything went fine. The duo is, by the way, followed by a coordinator who's part of the team. So I myself as well follow a few duos within their 6 months so that I can give them tools when needed or tips, etc. And so that I can see that they really meet each other every week and for 6 months in a row. A little word about our impact. We already reached 3,000 euros, so I should update this one. All the antennas together, so we have 5 antennas, 4 of which are in Belgium and then Paris. So together we managed to create 3,000 duos. 3 out of 4 youngsters do find a job, an internship, or a training after a year. We have a group of our population of more than 1,000 mentors in all the different antennas, and 9 out of 10 mentors decide to re-engage. So once they accompanied a first youngster, they decide to accompany another one or a third, a fourth, etc. We also, through the evaluation we do systematically at the end of each duo, we can see that for the youngsters, there is a real gain in confidence. They almost all of them say they have managed to enforce or reinforce their confidence, self-confidence. They managed to identify a professional project because some come and just don't know at all what they want to do. They feel they master the search of a job much better than before and that they are much more autonomous. For the mentors as well, we can see that there are real advantages of the project because they feel like they can transmit their knowledge, they can transmit their competencies, and they can still learn new ones as well, especially in terms of intercultural communication, active listening, etc. And obviously, it's also a way for them to be engaged and to have a project where they can be committed to. So that is in a nutshell what Duo for a Job is about. It's pretty easy to participate. We do not have a selection. We only have this criteria of eligibility that I have mentioned a little earlier on in the presentation. So I can always put that slide back on. And if you know any youngsters who might be interested, they can just go to our website, and then on the website, they can register for an information session, which is the very first step of the process. And when they do that, we will invite them for a real discussion and explanation of what we do and how we work. And my clock sounds, so that's basically what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I would like to ask some question about your institution because so many friends told me about interested about your Duo for Job. But anyway, you tell about the youngs, the mentors. Are they all located in Paris? I mean that. Do you have the service of for the young job seekers who would like to participate outside of the Paris? If it is possible, they can what steps they should follow, and also what modalities do you have? The other questions about Dua for Job. Did you advise for the new sectors, for the young job seekers today, as fast digitalized, and what kind of skills they should require? Two main questions coming from our audience.
Okay, thank you very much, Emre. To start with the first one, so yes, actually, we do ask all the mentors and all the mentees to be living in the French, in the L'Île-de-France region. Why? Because it is important, even though everything is much more digitalized today, it still is important that when things are a little normal again, they can see each other, because our program is based on interpersonal relations, and it's important to see each other. We cannot only have a strong link between two people by using the screen, and even though we had to at some point, nowadays, for example, we recommend our mentors and mentees to see each other, at least in the beginning, in real life, in our offices. So these offices are basically only in Paris as of today, but we do have a very ambitious expansion or scale-changing plan. So we would like to create an antenna in Les Hauts-de-France, in Lille. So any youngster who is interested in an accompaniment and living in Lille or close to Lille, I just ask a little bit of patience, because in a few months they can also register there. We are about to start a prospection in Marseille as well, and then we have ambitions to go to Lyon and to other cities, but that will all be done in a few years' time. So we need to make sure we do things well and not too fast. And otherwise, in Belgium, we have antennas in the whole country. So the ambition is to have the same situation in France. The second question, I'm not 100% sure I understood it well, but in terms of the skills that are needed today, you spoke about digitalization, Emre, and indeed we see that the youngsters that come in contact with Duo for a Job and those that ask us for help are a little more aware of how the digital world works. They have access to these tools, etc., which is a bit of a pity, because we're also there for the youngsters that are much more, they have a bigger distance with the job market, and we also want to be there for them. So we can lend them a computer, for example, so that they can have access to online meetings with their mentors. So yes, the skills, the digital skills are very important, but we do not ask our mentees to have any skills in particular. Actually, we have youngsters that are accompanied by mentors of Duo for a Job that have almost no education, or that have just a telephone, for example. So we will accompany them and cross-check whether they have a lot or not that much competencies in the digital field, and then we try to adjust the mentoring in accordance to their situation. You tell me if that answers the question, Emre?
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for the answers. But one question, a little bit more about the. I know one of my friends. He's tried to reach you, but he was born in 1987 and for 34 years old and 35 years old. Some guys, some friends would they would like to participate your action in the 35, 36 years old, if it is possible or not.
Unfortunately, it is not. We really are an intergenerational project, and we focus on the youngsters from 18 until 33 and 364 days. So you really need to subscribe the day before your 34th birthday, but that is also because otherwise it's going to be too broad, and we're not in that intergenerational spirit anymore. And that is what is very important for us, because we really have two groups of people we want to help. And if we go too much towards 40, then we don't have that intergenerational character anymore.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much for nice explications, nice presentation for the Dua for Job. I hope we keep touch with you, with keep in touch with Dua for Job. Anyone else, anyone in our participants, would you mind to try to reach you? It's very simple to write the direct to register directly to the Dua for Job. But anyway, if you might, would you mind to reach us? It's okay for us also. We can find a way to reach Stephanie and her colleagues. We passed the next panelist. The other side of the microphone is Yama Sarash. He is there. I would like to speak a little bit presentation from Yama. He's a young entrepreneur from Netherlands. He's coming from Netherlands, but he was born in Afghanistan. And after then grew up in Eindhoven. We know Eindhoven as a team, soccer team, PSV Eindhoven, but he's also a sportman. He's a professional sportman and chess player, Yama. He has been in Paris for 2 years and founded his startup called Senzai. And with his startup Senzai, he's going to be working on the Olympic Committee in Paris for the 2024. And he has started to propose the solutions worldwide. Thank you. You're welcome, Yama, and we are listening to you.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction and having me here. Yeah, it was nice to hear how you guys perceive me. But yeah, myself, I'm doing many different things. So I promise you to keep it short. So I will show you my pitch deck. I'll tell you my startup, what I'm doing. And maybe we can use this for the panel discussions. And I prepared also another slide. So as you said, I was born in Afghanistan, and from my 12th, I live in the Netherlands. We were political refugees. We found a safe haven in Netherlands where I could study, and my siblings also. I have some engineering background, and then I shifted towards economics, international economics and finance. And I have a master's degree in strategic management. And I research entrepreneurship in the high-tech supply chain. So I have a fairly academic background, but I wanted to, change things within my own community. Actually, the funny thing is to share, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. My father was an engineer from Polytechnic in Afghanistan. And my mother was a professor and a veterinary. So they saw myself as someone going into academia or at least research or do at least a PhD. I think only master's degree, I failed my parents. But nevertheless, aside my studies, I picked up boxing, and I wasn't bad at it. So that also really helped me a lot. And I think that's also what my story is. I want to help use sports to integrate refugees, immigrants, but also help with social cohesion of immigrants. So in 2010, growing up in Netherlands, I always question about my own identity and belonging and purpose. So I decided to make a road trip. So from Eindhoven, my city, I drive all the way to Afghanistan, 8,000 kilometers. And then there I did some development assistance. And I give kids half-year boxing classes. So later, this will really inspire me for my project. I thought, why can I not make a punching bag that I can train my cousins from Netherlands or from France? Later, I was also working in other emerging countries such as Kosovo and Congo. And there I realized, especially in these conflict-affected communities, there's lots of trauma, mental health issues, and there's a lack of public investment in health and also in sports. And especially these countries need sports for development. And nevertheless, lots of these people from these developing countries, from this crisis, armed conflict countries, coming to Europe and France. And these people have a lot of mental health issues, such as post-traumatic stress disorder. And there is generally a lack of awareness among this, is also underdiagnosed. And I see sport as a great tool to intervene, because also within these communities, there's also a taboo around mental health, so it's hard to talk. So that's why I'm using sports as a tool. I want to sell a product high-end with corporates, with my network in the sports industry. And with this, I want to create sustainable finance to do my social mission, eventually in Afghanistan, but also in Africa. But now also I see, being in Paris, I see there's lots of issues with in the suburbs of Paris. So let me go through fast because this pitch is meant for investors. What we're building is a smart punching bag, and you generate data on your boxing behavior, punching power, speed, reaction time, and those goes to an app, and then you can get personalized coaching content. You can track your performance, and you can compete in a community. So in a way, we're making boxing safer and fun and available to a wide audience. So we're in the early stage of product development. I want to build two models: one for poor neighborhoods, for poor regions, and other is for high end. And with this, we can finance our mission. So I call it the Robin Hood business model. I try to get some funding from the public health and from charities. I figured out for me it's way better to work with private sector. So my focus is building a high-end product, and with this I can do my social mission. So we're making quite progress. So this is an early, quick and dirty version. We built a prototype in the Netherlands, and with this project we got selected at the Station F, and that's how I got to Paris. So I will spare you the technical details. We have some AI vision. So this is a long-term product development. And in the end, we see ourselves as a data-driven health coaching company. So I have a great technical team, 2 PhDs on board. Of course, you see it's a very complex project. Nobody can do this on their own. It involves electronics, mechanics, software, material research. So because of our crazy story, we got many champions behind us, and they want to help us in our mission. I'm very happy about that. And in Paris, I found very good connections with the French Olympic Committee. Sarah Ourahmoun, which is France's most awarded boxer. She's helping me, and I got agreements with other boxers. They're helping us. So we're raising 400K investments this year. That's our purpose. And we're going to start a crowdfunding campaign. So I'm definitely going to involve you guys with this. Our idea is to sell punching bags, and on every punching bag sell subscription model. And then you can put the punching bags in public spaces, and you can people can share the punching bags. I've been very happy to make use of the support network. I came to Paris through Station F. I'm currently in a program with the US Embassy in Paris around sports diplomacy. And we recently been accepted at Grand Paris Sport Incubator Program, which will give me 2 years dedicated support. And of course, my orientation is Olympic Games. So by the end of the year, I want to deliver my first batch. And last but not least, we've been nominated as a Talent 2024 by the Municipality of Paris as a social economy project. So the 2 years, how was my experience? Yeah, I managed to break in and find a little bit support. We are launching customer with Red Cross. They want to bring our solution to Calais and Dunkirk. That's really great for me. I'm really happy about that. So that was a little bit in a nutshell my presentation. So I'll go to my entrepreneurship experience in France. What I really like about France, I think School 42, I think that's really the best period of me being in France. 2 months I spent there. It's a coding school, really amazing pedagogy. And Station F is really amazing environment. I heard there's totally non-French culture there, but I really enjoyed being there. It really helped me. I think in France, the opportunities are that there's high level of engineering and scientific research. There's very good policy towards entrepreneurship and innovation. I think the Macron government is onto something with this startup nation. And I think Paris is now becoming the venture capital of Europe. Mainland Europe, at least. Of course, the Olympic Games are a great opportunity for us all. And they are going to renovate Paris. They're going to put 80 billion in the city. and building 68 new metro stations. So there are lots of public investments. So that's why I'm making good use of it. What I dislike, this country, oh my God, they love bureaucracy. I think the mindset towards entrepreneurship and generally taking risks is missing, is different than Netherlands. I saw that this country is very much a class society, so very hard to get in between if you're not born in the right circles. This grand ecosystem, this is something new for me. This we don't have in Netherlands. So it's a really flat society in Netherlands. I'm appreciating Netherlands more. What I also was a little bit sometimes disappointed is the low expectation patterns people tend to have about immigrants or refugees. I was trying to get some help with some local organization here. Obviously I'm doing a high-tech product, and they literally told me like, wow, this is so complicated. Why don't you do something with food, you know? And I really see this like a little bit humiliating. But nevertheless, there's a lot of diversity and inclusivity initiatives. But yeah, to me, many of them are just looking for sad charity stories, and this is their incentive to get money from public sector. And that's what I didn't like it. So that's why I'm leaning more toward the private sector. It's way more inclusive to me than the public sector, to be honest. So in conclusion, I think the diversity and inclusivity policy is needed, not for the sake of social justice or whatever, but pure from economic necessity. I think that's what needs to be drawn to a lot of people, and I think immigrants can really bring this entrepreneurial mindset to the French culture. And I think this is, for me, I see entrepreneurship is the most likely way to climb in the social mobility ladder in France. That's how I see things. So yeah, sorry, I hope it's not boring. I would like to see if there's some questions.
Thank you very much, Yama. We are so appreciated to you also. You can in 2 years time, and you achieved so many things. Good continuation, firstly, and also I would like to emphasize a situation for Yama. I know him a little bit. Yama, she just arrived here, France, but she actually learning French. It's level of French, I don't know, maybe A1 or A2. That's all. But he achieved these goals just for English and just for his spirit, his spirit of entrepreneurship. That's why it's the best example, and keep going on. Congratulations and good luck, Yama.
Thank you.
We passed our next panelist, and don't hesitate, our participants, to ask the questions in the chat part on our oral question and response part. You can write your question either in Turkish or in French. Don't hesitate to call us. And I would like to pass to FAIR, another important institution situated in Paris. Their mission is to support and empower refugees to become a successful entrepreneur in France, and to promote a new vision to approach a refugee's role and inclusion and contribution to the French society. The director of FAIR, Christina, she's with us today. And Christina came from Canada, and after her license, she moved to France and carried on her career here. She comes with an entrepreneur. His name is Gaes. He's already there also, and we would like to listen. How does it work, FAIR, Christina, and what kind of support you provide to entrepreneurship and the main step on this way? Just after Christina, as I mentioned before, Gaes will present their experiences, and as I said before, the participants, don't forget to write your questions on the chat part. Thank you very much, Christina. It's your turn.
Hello, everyone. Thanks very much, Emre, for the introduction, and thank you to the FEDIF and to Max for this great forum. And it's wonderful to give the organizations and entrepreneurs a chance to highlight their experiences.
Christina, a little bit problem with the sound. I don't know why you muted. Yes. Okay.
There,
okay.
is that better? Yeah, for some, actually, okay. Hopefully I'm not going to touch anything. It would actually look like the host muted me, but there we go. So as long as everyone can hear me now. I'm not going to share a presentation with you. I'm just going to speak to you a little bit about FAIR, and then I will introduce Heis, who is one of the first entrepreneurs within our loan program. So FAIR is actually a philanthropic tool. We are an endowment fund that was founded by Nick Nopornstupipat, who is a Thai political refugee who had to flee Thailand in 2014 with the arrival of the military junta. And he fled to France and left everything behind. His very successful business that was about to launch their IPO, his home, everything. And his experience was what really motivated him to start FAIR. What he discovered through the experience of having to flee to start again, he realized a couple of things. One was that the skills and the character traits that he had to draw on to make it through were very similar to those of successful entrepreneurs: the drive, the determination, the risk-taking. As he said, he's always been an entrepreneur. He's known that from a very young age. He never planned on being a refugee, as I think is the case for everyone who is a refugee and who's had to flee their home country. But he realized that his situation, in that he had the financial stability, he also understood that he needed to engage. And if he didn't take action to help others who wanted to launch a new entrepreneurial project in their new home country, if he didn't get engaged and get involved, who would? So that's kind of the story behind FAIR and why we exist. Our mission is to support refugee entrepreneurs. And we do that with two main areas of action. So we work with financing. So we have a financing arm where we're looking at two different programs that work on financing programs for refugee entrepreneurs and support programs. And then we have an advocacy program, which is perhaps a little bit less developed today. FAIR was created in 2018. We have published a report and a study that we did in collaboration with the Center for Entrepreneurs, taking a look at the ecosystem of incubator programs and what can be done and what is needed within those programs for the entrepreneurs. And we're looking at other opportunities for other research that can be done. Really what the advocacy program is looking at, it's changing the narrative. What we understand is that not only do we have to do with the financing and support, but we also have to talk about it. And this is something I think we share with Max and the FEDIF, and the idea of changing the narrative and trying to move away from what at best is something that we see that is humanitarian when we're talking about refugees and migrants, and at worst is completely discriminatory and racist. So we want to show the value add and our firm belief that refugee entrepreneurs have a huge value add for society. And we want to allow them to gain access in what we know is a difficult environment. So the financial arm of FAIR works in two different ways. We work on the early pipeline and in the early stages of development of a business. So the start of the value chain of business creation. The first program is a donation program, and we support incubator programs. We're currently working with 4 different partners, with Make Sense and Elan Interculturel and their combo program. We're working with Singa. We support their incubator program in Lyon. With Place Network, supporting various of their activities, very innovative program, working very much on the ideation stage all through, and they've developed new different innovative programs to help with professional insertion for migrants and refugees. And our final partner is Tech Fugees, working with them on different programs in terms of a database, working for helping entrepreneurs develop their projects and other activities. So really the work that we do with them is the early stage, from ideation to what we might call soft launch. The second program, which is perhaps the most interesting for the audience here, is our loan and our direct support program. So this program supports refugee entrepreneurs directly with their projects. It's it's a boutique project. We are currently working with 3 entrepreneurs, and in 2021, we will have jury selection process, and we're hoping to onboard 3 more entrepreneurs. Now, in order to qualify for our program, we're open and niche at the same time, in the sense that we are open to migrants and refugees coming from any country. We're not country focused. The business needs to be established in France, however, and we focus on businesses that have an ambition to have a large economic impact, to not say unicorn. This does not mean we only focus on tech. We are open to all sectors. However, what we're looking for are entrepreneurs who have a big idea and are looking to move beyond opening a simple business for themselves. It is absolutely not a judgment call. We just felt that what was missing was support for entrepreneurs with big scale projects. And also, we didn't want to start working in a field where there is already great coverage with, for example, l'ADI, which provides great support for micro entrepreneurs and their projects. So the loan program, the application process goes through several steps. Initially, the first contact, there's a few forms. We try and keep it as simple as possible, but there are some forms to fill out so that we can get a general idea of your project. The entrepreneurial project needs to be either with a soft launch, they've already proven their concept, so proof of concept with some initial sales, or they have to at least be at the stage of having completed a market study and perhaps need funding for building of a prototype to prove the potential concept, service, or product that they're looking to develop and sell. The loan program is not merely financial. It's not simply a loan and then off you go. We've created an entire support program around that, and it's bespoke. So it will be tailored to each entrepreneur's needs as well as their project, because every project is going to be different. We're not your typical incubator program. We don't have an office where we keep our entrepreneurs and we ask them to come and work. We feel that if it's a tech project, it should be in a tech incubator. If it's a retail project, it should be in a retail incubator. However, we provide additional accompaniment in the form of coaching, mentoring, other services that can help the entrepreneur bring the project along with the idea of moving them through the hard launch to their first seed investment round. So that in a nutshell is fair. And I actually forgot to put my timer on, so I'm not sure where I'm at with the timing. But I've said, I think, the most important things about FAIR, and I would love to now pass the microphone off to Gijs, who is one of the first entrepreneurs that was supported by our program, and to let him talk a little bit about his experience and the launch of his business, CalCap.
Thank you very much, Christina. After that, we passed through the question and answer part. Yes, guys, you're welcome. It's better to speak with you French. Vous voulez dire quelque chose pour votre expérience avec FAIR? Tout d'abord, je vous félicite. Vous avez déjà eu de la réussite grâce à le FAIR. Est-ce que vous pouvez parler un petit peu de votre histoire, votre expérience dans votre domaine? Tu devrais ouvrir voilà, le micro. Le micro, guys.
Voilà, c'est bon?
C'est bon.
Bonjour, Maraba, Abbé.
Merci beaucoup.
Bon, dommage, je ne comprends pas l'anglais très bien, donc j'ai échappé plein de choses dans cette conférence tellement précieuse. Je me présente, je m'appelle Reis, j'ai 33 ans. Ça fait en France depuis 2015. Donc, plutôt, j'ai un profil entrepreneuriat depuis quand j'étais en Syrie. J'ai travaillé dans l'entrepreneuriat. Après, en Liban, j'ai fait une usine sous-vêtements, textile. Je suis monté jusqu'à 50 salariés. Et après, j'ai passé en Turquie. J'ai rien fait en Turquie. Parce que c'était un passage et plus tard, je suis venu en France. Donc, je suis venu avec une idée. Donc, il est né dans le Moyen-Orient. Même je l'ai pratiqué ou je l'ai vu clairement aussi en Turquie. C'est les gens qui ramassent les déchets dans la rue, avec des sacs sur le dos, avec des images, en fait, pour moi, c'est très dur. Mais je dis, ces gens-là, en fait, simplement, ils nous aident à nettoyer la ville. Et pourquoi pas, on les aide pour retrouver les intérêts. Et bien sûr, les intérêts, c'est les déchets, si on peut dire. Mais leurs déchets un peu spécifiques, excuse-moi, c'est déchets métalliques. Ils ont besoin des métaux. Donc, en France aussi, il y a des gens comme moi exactement. J'ai contacté les entreprises qui jettent les déchets métalliques. Je dis, à partir de maintenant, vous pouvez laisser votre déchet dans mon application. Oui, en plus, j'ai créé une application aussi pour avoir tous ces déchets-là avec l'adresse. Et j'ai contacté ici les qui s'appellent en France Manouche, aux gens de voyage, ou les gens qui vraiment ils tournent pour nettoyer la ville. Donc, je dis, avec mon application, vous pouvez avoir un accès simplement pour votre intérêt. Et comme ça, j'ai eu la première personne. La première personne était tellement motivée, il a commencé à gagner plus sa vie. Donc, il a acheté un nouvel camion. Je le combiné aussi avec l'aide de l'ADI, que Christina tout à l'heure il a présenté. Donc, pour devenir auto-entrepreneur, avoir des papiers en règle, avoir un microcrédit. Et j'ai plus tard un deuxième camion, un troisième camion, et ça circule très bien bouche-oreille. Et maintenant, je travaille avec 5 collecteurs. Il y a 2 auto-entrepreneurs déjà. Et le 3, c'est un projet. Mon rêve est d'arriver partout en France. Et maintenant aussi, j'ai mon frère en Turquie. Je lui ai demandé qu'il étudie bien le tyran là-bas. Et l'espoir qu'on va, à partir de 2022, on a lancé l'application en Turquie. Et tout c'est l'histoire. 2019, ça commence avec le contact de Christina, qu'il m'accepte gentiment, me donner un coup de pouce, une petite finance pour commencer.
Thank you very much, guys. It's very interesting. An idea coming from third country, Turkey, and you applicate it here, ici, in France. It's very precious. Congratulations. And I would like to pass the question and answer part with Christina. Christina, most of our candidate of entrepreneurship ask as a FEDIF career, which kind of job mostly preferred by the newcomers who are coming in France? Which sector, nearly which kind of job preferred by the newcomers? And did you advise some sectors for the newcomers? This is the first question. The second question, for example, the same question as Stephanie I asked before, the entrepreneurs from outside of the Paris, do you have benefits they can benefit from your service or not? You already mentioned about some partnership between the Lyon, something like that. I would like to learn the details, please.
Great, thank you, Emre. So for the first question, I will speak about entrepreneurship because FAIR, really our focus is entrepreneurship. You know, in terms of what's preferred, we really see a variety. Now, in some of the incubator programs, and just to reflect back on Yama's presentation, we do see a lot of projects around food. I think food is something that is kind of inherent to us all. However, for example, at FAIR, the 3 projects that we support, there are no food projects. So in terms of jobs, I think perhaps you know, Stephanie from Duo for Job may be able to better answer that question in terms of which jobs are preferred. Really, FAIR's point of view is that it's not a matter, it's where your skill set is. And what we work with our entrepreneurs is to ensure that their skill sets are put to good use and are not and that they're not forced into underemployment. We're not here to promote entrepreneurship. We're not here to say it is the way out. We are here to promote entrepreneurs and to help them succeed. Because we know that navigating the French ecosystem can be a little bit complicated. And I'm going to link that to the answer to the second question. And FAIR's work is France-wide. So we will work with entrepreneurs regardless of where you are, as long as you are based in France. But we're not only, our offices are based in Paris, but we work with entrepreneurs throughout France. And we do work, especially in these days, with the situation being as it is, but a lot of this can be done online. The application forms can be sent to us via email and accessed via our website. So, and today, you know, we're all experts with Zoom, so we can have meetings even if we can't actually travel as much as we used to. We can still have Zoom meetings, and actually, the second jury selection process that we had last year was actually all done via Zoom. So we don't foresee any slowdown in the program and our next jury selection round, regardless of whether we can do it live or if it needs to be done via Zoom.
Thank you very much, Christina, for the nice presentation and for the nice services for the new entrepreneurs in France, and newcomers in France. I hope so many newcomers, I hope will benefit from your service and will be like a new entrepreneurship, like guys who is already behind entrepreneurship, and he keep going on. And I hope good lucks in your business. And I would like to pass and another newcomer today. He's with us, and he's also an entrepreneurship. He's outside of the Paris. He participated in our program in also outside of the Paris. Mustafa, he's in front of us, and he's participated from Toulouse. After his long education career in Mongolia, Mustafa came to France in 2017. And he arrived here, and after that he started to work in Spain, in Madrid, an international school, as a director. After he returned back to France, in Toulouse, he established Elite Academy in Toulouse. Mustafa, would you mind to speak us a little bit detail of your project, and what kind of advices you have for the newcomers?
Thank you very much, Emre, and thank you very much all the participants. Yes, as you mentioned that I lived in Mongolia on approximately 23 years, and I worked there as a last in international school, as a director in international school. And it was difficult a person as the old asylum seekers, for me also, and my family. We lived after living in 23 years, and one day I had to leave the country which I love. As all you know, that I think Mongolia is a breathtakingly the beautiful place to explore, that will delight to nature lovers for us also. And it's very beautiful country, and the perfect people, and hospitable country, and which you should visit. And the pity that I have to leave the country that with my family in one day. And I came here first in Paris. After that, I moved to the Toulouse. Well, I studied French 1 year in a university, and I participated in university. I became a student after many years. And I created my micro business and entrepreneur. And after that, I got an offer from Madrid as an administrator and director of the international school. During that time, same times, I established and then created my Elites Academy. Well, last year, the last academic year, I worked in the international school, as I mentioned, as I said, as administrator of the school there. And now I'm trying to going up with my Elites Academy. Elites Academy is an after-school program. I myself now supporting the students, especially in English. And my plan is to grow it more. My wife is also helping me that too much, because she was working as a career advisor and in international school and in private schools. Well, that's the shortly, the briefly for me. And then thanks again, all of you, and thank you very much for participating and inviting me.
Me too also, Mustafa. Thank you very much. I would like to make a small announce. Normally, we are another participant, another panelist. He should be there. Most of them maybe heard about this institution. Its name is Vero. It's French wide for the newcomers, an institution for the job seeking platform. But anyway, the founder, normally he's in the vacation time, but he accept our invitation kindly. But I took his message. He went to skiing, and he had a little bit accident. That's why he couldn't get rid of participate our panel. We would like to pass another speaker coming from Brussels, Mr. Kumcu. I would like to present you Mr. Kumcu. He's anyway, he's a French migrant. Mr. Kumcu, he came to France in his 9 years old as a child of a migrant family. And after his first education part in France, after his baccalaureate, he moved to Netherlands, and he keep going on his education in Netherlands, and he had an academic degree in Netherlands. In the few years ago, he moved to Brussels, and now he's the president of the Unity based in Brussels, and he's the founding member of the European Business Confederation, advocating the interest of the entrepreneurs with a migrant background of the European level. Mr. Kumcu, would you tell about your experiences in your lifetime, and what did you advise to our newcomers as you came before perhaps 40 years before?
Thank you very much, Emre, for the invitation. I am apparently the oldest participant in this panel, and I am happy to be among young people, ambitious people, entrepreneurial people, not only entrepreneurial in the business sense of the word, but at the same time entrepreneurial in the social, cultural, and even political sense of the word. I am indeed born in Turkey, and I was 9 years old when I moved to France. Originally from a very poor family. The migration has been for economic reasons. And the first thing a migrant tried to do is to find a solution and to fight against this poverty. We started with my brothers and the rest of the family, 2 companies, and I was only 18 years old when I started these 2 companies. I was the one with the capacity to speak the French language. My father and mother worked very, very hard. My brothers and sisters assisted us in these companies, but pioneering in the 70s by starting a company as a migrant was a real adventure, to be honest. You don't know anything and you need to discover. You need to fight against uncertainty. You need to fight against yourself. You need self-confidence to be able to create value added in a foreign country. Foreign, not anymore. I love France. I love all the countries where I lived. I love because these countries have given us real opportunities to realize our dreams. We moved because we had dreams, and we found in these countries the opportunity to realize our dreams. We need to be honest in this sense. Yes, there is a lot of discrimination. There is a lot of populism against in Europe, but the majority of Europeans are welcoming newcomers, and we need to appreciate this welcoming. All my life, I tried not only to succeed by taking initiatives, not only for myself, but also taking initiatives for the society. And we can hear from all the participants here in this panel that all these people are altruistic in nature. What does this mean precisely? These people want to generate value added not only for their own purpose, but for the society in general. Yes, to give better chance to newcomers to realize their dreams, but also that they have dreams about the country, their new host countries. They have dreams about Europe. And personally, I'm in love with Europe, and I dream of a better Europe, and I fight all my life for a better Europe, to be honest. In 1989, I moved to the Netherlands. I studied sociology there. After my master, I started a PhD study at the University of Amsterdam on the topic of migrant entrepreneurship in Europe. What are the determinants of success and fall among migrant entrepreneurs in Europe? And what can we do, and what kind of initiatives can we take in order to give the best chances to these newcomers, in order to create value added for their new host country? This is their new country. If they accept their country as their country of the future, they will invest in this in their home countries. We started in 1995 an association, first associations, again pioneering, not only pioneering by creating a business, but also by creating an association to represent the interests of these migrant entrepreneurs, to organize ecosystems, supportive ecosystems, in order to bring support to these ambitious and courageous people, in order to help them to create jobs, in order to help them to create economic value added in these countries. 4 years later, there were already 8 new business associations representing migrant entrepreneurs there. If you have the courage to take the lead and to give the example, other people will follow. Even 15 years after, in 2010, when I moved to Brussels to start a confederation there, a confederation representing new European entrepreneurs, and I will explain why we have the change of this, of the name, not migrant anymore, but new Europeans. I had already found 52 business associations from 24 different European countries to adhere to this ambition to become the voice of colorful talents, colorful entrepreneurship in Europe. You know, when you have the courage to say, we need to be united, we need to come together for a purpose, for a respectful purpose, people will follow. Your motivation will energize other people. We need some energy, we need some synergy, we even need some symphony in order to create more value added for our beloved Europe. 52 business associations have come together in 2010 to form a confederation. And you know that FEDIF was one of these associations also. And when people begin to trust each other, when they believe that something can happen, they will become change makers and game changers. In this sense, I think that unity, and if you read it in French, you can read unité. If you read it in English, it will become unity. United in diversity is the idea behind this, because we need a full palette of colors to become a human being and to be civilized. We need to be ourselves. I cannot exist without the other. We need in Europe to understand that diversity is not a burden. Diversity is not a problem. Diversity is the solution. Diversity we need to become human and to create a civilization, a respectful civilization in this sense. Unity has become the voice of migrant entrepreneurship in Europe. Unity has become a catalyst for supportive ecosystems through Europe for these newcomers. Unity is an initiator of impactful projects, and Max is also We are also participating in Max, but even there, we're not alone. We are not doing this alone. We're not an island. Max is a project with many, many partners, partners from different colors, partners from different ethnicities, but we are united in the same mission. And it is what the mission of Unity is. Around the same mission, how can we bring people together? Unity is also a creator of economic, social, cultural, and innovative value. We have listened to Yama, Saraj, and coming from the Middle East and even further than the Middle East, and creating high-tech entrepreneurship in the Netherlands, in France, is something very valuable. We need to open our eyes. We need to open our minds. We need to open our hearts to see these fantastic talents abroad, international talent, and we very much need them for the future of Europe. Yes, these people are change makers. Yes, these people are game changers, and we very much need not to support them. We very much need to trust them, to believe in them, to give them room to realize their dreams, because they can, with their passion and compassion, bring us towards new ages, if I may say. Let me finish with, when we talk about migrant entrepreneurship, it seems like there are only kebab shops around us. There will be no Silicon Valley without migrant entrepreneurs, and we see a lot of high-tech entrepreneurs in Europe created by these young, colorful talents. My father always used to say to me, hey, find a way, make a way, or get out of the way. These are my principles in life. And to be honest, it's not about only my way. Some people used to say my way or the highway. I will to say we can only be united. When we are united, we stand, and divided, we will fall. We need to be careful. And last but not least, we need to be careful with the fear, because fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Fear is the only thing to fear. We need to fight against it. We need to fight against the fear of the unknown with humility and courage to uncover, discover, and explore the magic of diversity. Yes, I very much appreciate the magic of diversity. I feel it in my heart. And the only place where we can feel with our hearts is surely when we know how to look through the eyes of our hearts. And I will cite Le Petit Prince, on ne voit bien qu'avec le cœur, l'essentiel est invisible aux yeux. Merci. Je vous renvoie la balle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumju. It's very meaningful speech from your part. Thank you very much for sharing today in our panel with you. And we would like to lastly have a testimonial, the part of a family part. We would like to invite Nuray to the front for about her and also her family's experiences in France. Nuray also is a newcomer. She's a newcomer. She just arrived France for about 3 years ago. She's from Turkey. She has been an English teacher for 13 years there. And after that, she wished his career, carry on his career here in France as well. Would you like to, we would like to listen a little bit of family experiences to also. And I will leave the front to Nuray. And after that, I will close the program. Nuray, we are listening to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the organizers of this meeting, for inviting me, and also thank you all for listening me here today. It's an honor to have the opportunity to tell about my real story, and I will be very happy if I could contribute in any way to make to this meeting. First of all, let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Nurai. I am the mother of 3 sons and the last children of my own family. And I am an English teacher, as you said. And I am the wife of 19 years of my husband. And above all these identities, I'm a political refugee in France for 3 years. We had to leave our country 3 years ago because of the political problems that some of you maybe knows here, obviously. In my own country, we were accused of being terrorists, entre guillemets, just because of having the thoughts which were against to the government. The last year, just before we left from Turkey, I was alone with my 3 sons, and there was always the fear of kidnapped or captured or tortured by the police forces. It was impossible to put up with this situation anymore, and we decided to come France. I don't want to mention about how was difficult to arrive our destination in details, but I can say it was quite difficult for the especially children. And when we arrived to France, we were welcomed by an old French couple who become after our friends forever. We stayed 10 days together at their home, and they let us their house for staying 1 month more. And this friendship encouraged us to have a good relationship with other French people without hesitation, without prejudice, and without fear, maybe. And I consider that this beginning point has given us the strength to go forward in this country. Secondly, what we are doing now as a whole family, I'm working in an association and giving English lessons there. Both of us, with my husband, we have already received our French language certificate of level B2 and CI. My husband is working in a public high school as a educational assistant. Normally, our ultimate goal is doing our job as a teacher, but it's a very good step for my husband to start working in a high school, government school in France, pardon. Besides, all my children are good at their school. They are satisfied with their studies. We think that we owe too many things to this country because of in this period of integration and preparation our new life. uh, France support us economically, psychologically, thanks to the associations and organizations like Wintegrat, Codico, CADA, Coalia, the universities that give us the French courses. And accepting that serving to these countries our new mission, we have already started to realize this by working in some of the association which helps refugees as benevolence. What we are doing, we are helping them, encourage them to learn French, and we are sharing some tip points with newcomers. Thirdly and finally, in the future, the thing that I am sure the most, we won't give up progressing ourselves, broaden up our knowledge, embracing the new cultures and helping the others. In addition to our indispensable goal as a parents is educating our children well in this country. Finally, in conclusion, maybe our destiny has led us here in this country maybe it began dramatically, but I feel that it will go on an amazing way. Thank you for listening to me patiently. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nuray. Me too. We too. We really appreciate you and the other panelists. Everyone tells us about their experiences as well. And I emphasize that I see that the situation. That's my observation. This country, France, welcomes you, welcomes everybody, every newcomer. And as a newcomer, me also, I am a little bit early newcomer. I came here about 15 years ago, and I see so much opportunities, so much social and job opportunities. This program, the aim to try to find a solution for finding a path to going to the job. Of course, job is not it's not the one thing. We have to achieve so many other goals to include this society. For today, I again thanks to all of our panelists and all of our participants. Our program is finished here. The first part is finished here. First step is finished here. We keep going on the second part in the 24th of March in the education part. Here we are actually listening the participants. Not this they also in your agenda, and you are in the 24th. We will waiting for you as a discussion for the inclusion the newcomers, the young newcomers, and we are trying to make a debate in the roles of schools in our webinar. In this webinar, the directors of the schools, the responsibles from the academy, and the other association actors will be held on this project. It will be held on this second part of the webinar. We will waiting for you, and have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon again, and thank you very much again, all of our panelists.